Zane Vierheller, Orville, center and defensive tackle.
Brandon Johnson, Orville, receiver, defensive back.
Charles Kearney, Wooster, wide receiver, linebacker. Go Woo.
Grant Stokes, Wooster, offensive tackle and defensive end. Go Woo.
Mason Tomlin, Wooster, running back, linebacker. Go Woo, beat Orville.
Kevin Kamara, linebacker, Wooster High School. Wooster, beat Orville.
Kyle Lichty, Orville, quarterback, safety, beat Wooster.
Nick Ripert, Orville, running back, linebacker. Yeah.
Jason Field, Orville, long snapper, linebacker.
Hi, welcome to the Week 10 edition of the Daily Record High School Football Insider. I'm Daily Record sports editor Aaron Dorkson, along with Mike Plant, and to quote legendary college football announcer Keith Jackson, whoa Nelly, we got a lot going on this week, Mike, a lot on the line here in Week 10.
Yeah, Aaron, not only Week 10 games, but Week 11 possibilities. We have a number of area teams looking to finalize their positions in the playoff race. The big game, of course, is in the Wayne County Athletic League over in Creston, where Norwayne will host Northwestern for the outright WCAL championship. Norwayne currently, Aaron, ranked number 3 in Division 4 Region 13. Northwestern 7th in the same region. It looks like the Bobcats are in for sure. It looks like the Huskies are probably in, but a victory, of course, Friday would really shoot them up the standings. Also in the same region 13, the Triway Titans are still hanging on to their slim playoff possibilities. They're 8th in the region, which would put them in the playoffs if the season ended today. They'll host Canton-Timken Friday night. And then the Tuslaw Mustangs are 11th in the same region, and they will host Fairless. In Division 5, Region 19, Loudonville is 5th. The Redbirds will be going down to Fredericktown. It looks like Loudonville's in either way. And as the same case with the Hillsdale Falcons, who, although they got beat last week by Norwayne, are still 7th in Division 5, Region 19, and they will go to Doylestown tomorrow night, Aaron.
And of course, Mike, Week 10 in this area always means the Worcester-Orville week, and we're on location at the Wooster Country Club. We just finished the annual captain's luncheon between the teams. This is one of the state's oldest rivalries, and in the top 5 for all time for length of rivalries. These rivals have met since 1903. They've been playing almost every year. This will be the 102nd meeting. Worcester leads the all-time series 50-42-9. But Orville's won 7 straight. If they can win 8 straight, Mike, they'd get a first for the all-time series, so they don't want that to happen.
And before we continue with the other games, Andrew Vogel, Daily Record sports writer, we brought him into the High School Football Insider video this week. We thought he was finally ready. And Andrew had a chance to talk to Orville head coach Doug DeVault and Worcester head coach Doug Haas, and those interviews are coming up next on the High School Football Insider.
I'm Andrew Vogel with the Wooster Daily Record, here with Wooster coach Doug Haas and Orville coach Doug DeVault. We're here at the Captain's Luncheon for the 102nd installment of the Wooster-Orville rivalry. And Doug, this is your first year as head coach of Wooster. What's it mean to be part of this rivalry?
For me, it's really exciting. I mean, that's part of the reason that I was intrigued about this job, and the opportunity to be a part of 102 years of a rival is just outstanding, and all the pageantry that goes on throughout the week and then leading up to the game, that's the part that I'm really the most excited about.
And obviously the storyline, Orville's won 7 in a row. What would it mean for your guys and your seniors and you as the head coach to go out on Saturday and stop that streak and finally get a win against Orville?
Well, certainly the streak is important, but from our standpoint, this is the opportunity that we have, and so we're looking forward to it from that end of capitalizing on the end of the year and remembering our last game, and then obviously it's going to be extremely important to our seniors who've never had that opportunity. So I know they're going to be motivated. I know they're going to practice hard and work at it all week to put themselves in a position to be successful on Saturday night.
And Doug, you've never lost to Wooster as the head coach at Orville. Obviously this year, probably not the record that you guys are expected to or want, but there is kind of, once you go into Saturday, the records don't really matter. And so how much kind of would it mean kind of to end your season with another win over Wooster.
That's exactly where we are. This season has been a disappointment from a record standpoint. The kids are working hard. They've continued to work hard. We'll go out this week, and you got a way for them to have a good taste in their mouth when they come out. But it's going to be a tough task. Worcester's a very, very talented team, and we'll have to play extremely well and eliminate the mistakes we've had. But yeah, this is something that they can hang their hats on, and yeah, they do want to keep the streak alive. They're very aware of that. These seniors, most of them dressed their freshman year, so this is their 4th time at it. So it is important to them, but it would have been important whether it was a streak to be kept or one to be started. So this is always a big game.
Okay, it was good to hear from Coach DeVault and Coach Haas. We'll work a little bit on Andrew's exit from the interview and segue, but I thought he did a pretty good job, Mike. You know what? Even though the two teams don't have the records as usual, Wooster just 2 wins and Orville only 1 win. Hasn't been what they'd hoped for or expected, but you really do throw the records out in this, and they're fortunate to have a rivalry like this year's seniors and the players, because if they end with a win, they'll still almost feel like a playoff win to a lot of people in the community. Really an intriguing matchup because Orville has had a lot more success in recent years. Worcester's offense has been a lot more high profile this year, but can they put the points up against Orville? And as I talked to Coach DeVault, he said they need to find some offense somehow. But if you're looking for offense coming into this game, it's pretty much been Wooster. Cam Doherty, the sophomore for the Generals, already set the school record with over 1,900 yards passing. He's thrown for 19 TDs. He really has an explosive pair of receivers, and James Preston, Darian Owens to lead the way. Some other standouts for Wooster, Grant Stokes, Mason Tomlin, Charles Kearney, Kevin Kamara, and others. On Orville's side of the ball, they have a 3rd-year quarterback in Kyle Lichty. They graduate a lot of playmakers. Kyle's stats have been up and down, but he's a hardworking kid who's going to give it all at quarterback. They'll be looking for him to go out, maybe play his best game of his career. They've had 2 sophomore running backs, Martavius Dyson, Kayron Inman play well. 2 juniors, Trevor Summers and Joel Zook are outstanding players. Zane Vierheller is a real good player. Nick Graber. So those are some of the key players you'll be seeing in this matchup, Mike.
The thing is, Aaron, like you just touched on, having this Worcester-Orville game, it gives teams, even when you're down, it gives them something to play for. It really is, in this instance, a 1-game season. And, I consider myself an historian, especially on this rivalry. This is actually produced when the teams have been down. We've actually had some really exciting games. I remember a couple games in the 90s, 1 win, 2 wins for each team. Orville won a couple games right at the finish. So just because the team's records might not reflect it, I wouldn't put it past putting their own stamp on this rivalry Saturday night. And it's still Worcester and Orville. I expect a big crowd Saturday night. Both communities really turn out for this game. And hopefully it'll live up to its billing. I know you talked about Orville's long winning streak in the series. Before that, Worcester had won 5 games, so it's been kind of one or the other in the last decade or so, and we'll see what happens Saturday night. We're going to take a break here on the Daily Record High School Football Insider. When we come back, we'll look at the big Wayne County Athletic League title game at Norwayne and the rest of the Week 10 matchups.
And welcome back. Mike, there's no denying there's almost a co-game of the week this week. Northwestern at Norwayne. Only a few times in the WCAL's history has it worked out that 2 undefeated teams would meet in Week 10 to decide the championship. They're both 6-0 in the league. Everyone's wondering, can Northwestern give Norwayne a game? Can they even beat them? Last week, Norwayne played the next closest challenger, Hillsdale, and all they did is beat them 59-13. That's a Hillsdale team that could make the playoffs. John Zimmerly, we had him for 324 yards rushing. The radio had him at 325. I guess when Norwayne went back through the film, they're officially credited him with 348. So that puts him almost 1,500 yards rushing on the season. He's broke all his dad's records. Joe Dreyer, the junior quarterback, he's about ready to break a bunch of passing records. Brady Berger's about ready to break the receiving records. Our headline on our Saturday paper said unstoppable. That's what they've been. I know you talked to Northwestern, some of their players, and Coach Toot, Mike. What do they have to do to stop the Bobcats?
Well, they certainly know they've got their work cut out for them. Head coach Mike Toot, in his 13th year, Aaron, I think he's the dean of area football coaches, which is kind of surprising because he's still kind of a young guy. But, Northwestern's defense has really played well. Both these two teams, their offenses get a lot of the credit, but they both have played great defense. And, of course, Norway's averaged 58 points a game in WCAL contests. So that's a pretty crazy stat right there. But, Northwestern comes in. They were 3-7 last year. A lot of these kids played, got a lot of playing time, and they're still pretty young. Offensively, look at Tyler Smith as their 1,000-yard running back, averaging almost 7 yards a carry, and Malachi Noletti, the quarterback, who's accounted for almost 2,000 yards of total offense, running and passing. And they're both two great two-way athletes, Aaron. Tyler Smith has 6 interceptions leading the area. He's returned 4 of them for touchdowns. And Malachi Noletti, a safety, also has 4 interceptions.
Well, there's no doubt. I mean, these are the two best teams in the WCAL. Norway's offensive line sometimes doesn't get the credit, but Hillsdale's coach Tom Williams said Norway dominated last week, which is high praise because Hillsdale has a big line as usual. So I think that's going to be a big play is the line play. Northwestern is not going to be able to make turnovers, and I think a fast start for Northwestern, with all that Norway's accomplished, to get their confidence going. If Norway rolls to that quick 21-0 lead or whatever like they did against Hillsdale, it could be smooth sailing. But, hoping for good weather and a great atmosphere, it's what local football is all about, Mike. Now let's shift gears over to the Principals Athletic Conference. That's been probably our craziest conference this year. We were kind of ruling out Triway for the playoffs, but some things have started falling their favor, Mike. Now they kind of have a shot. It looks like it might be them or Tuslaw in the playoffs.
Right. Of course, Triway's hosting Timken tomorrow night, a 1-win Timken team, so they're not going to get a whole lot of points at that level. They're going to do their best and see what happens in some of the other teams that they've beaten, how they do, and of course some of the teams that are threatening for that 8th playoff spot. It'll all depend on who wins and loses Friday night. The one thing about Triway, they went 2-8 last year, started out 0-8. Tomorrow night, playoffs or no playoffs, it's been a great season. They got a chance to finish 7-3, and it's a great send-off for the seniors. And the Titans have a lot of talent coming back. Tuslaw will be hosting Fairless, which is another one of those Week 10 rivalry games. The Mustangs took a crippling blow last week when they lost to Indian Valley, but if things go according to plan, they've beaten Fairless 15 times in a row, which is quite a streak. We talked about the Orville streak. The Fairless people, it's been almost 20 years since they've beaten them. And, of course, Manchester will play CBCA. The Panthers are in first place in the pack and can wrap that up and a probable playoff berth by beating CBCA tomorrow night.
There's a helicopter flying over. It's not the Daily Record chopper, but in the OCC, at the top of the standings, we're going to crown a conference champ this year. If Mansfield Senior can beat Madison in their annual rivalry game, they'll clinch it. If they would happen to lose and West Holmes can beat Clear Fork, there'd be a co-title. West Holmes will be a big favorite. Either way, even if West Holmes comes in second, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're going to be at home. So Coach Kevin Maltrich and his crew are looking to continue what's just been an amazing season. It'll be their first playoff trip since 2000.
And actually, if Madison will pull the upset in that game, I think that's a 3-way tie. Madison would get in there and get a piece.
Yep.
So West Holmes is going to play Clear Fork. Heavy favorite in that game, Aaron. And then just kind of sit back and watch the Tigers and the Rams on Saturday night. In the Wayne County Athletic League games, Hillsdale looking to go 7-3 and cement their playoff berth. They will be playing and be a big favorite over at Chippewa. As the Chips, though, have shown a lot of fight this year, Aaron, and I don't think there's any question that if they want to keep going in the right direction, head coach Kevin Wolf should get another opportunity with that team
There's an endorsement.
Smithville and Dalton, 2 longtime powers in the Wayne County Athletic League. What's on the line tomorrow night, Aaron, when they play? A 500 season to the winner, plus an over 500 season in the Wayne County Athletic League.
The winner would take over 4th place, so that, hey, they'd still be a top-tier team.
Not really what those program's goals ultimately are, but a step in the right direction. And in the last game, Rittman will be going down to Waynedale. Rittman, a 1-win team, and favored, hard to believe, as Waynedale 0-9. We've chronicled their struggles all season long, Doc, and I know they're going to be trying to get at least one win for those seniors.
Yeah, Waynedale trying to avoid the first winless season in program history. I just want to close by saying what an exciting season it's been. And I love Week 10 because teams, whether you've had a great season or a bad one, it's your last game. We heard coaches and speakers at the Captain's Luncheon say, no matter what the sport, I remember the last high school baseball game I ever played. Just something about that last game. Mike, you remember the last baseball? But rivalry week.
Yes,
Worcester,
I do.
Orville, Dover, New Philly, Canton, McKinley, Massillon. How about St. Ed's and St. Ignatius, the two top-ranked teams in the state in Division I? They're both 9-0. That's never happened. So it's just a great time to be a high school football fan, player, coach, whatever. And I just thank all the teams that we cover this year and wish them all good luck in their finale, and then some good luck as they go on in the playoffs.
And it's been great for sports writers too, because regardless of what happens Friday night, we're going to have plenty of teams and our photographers.
Let's thank Dan Starcher, our videographer,
since this is
director,
basically his show.
The Dan Starcher Show.
But we're going to have a lot of teams and playing in the postseason, Aaron, and it's a busy time for us, but it's fun because, like last year, we got to follow Norwayne all the way to the ultimate, the state championship. Tomorrow night, Friday night, we'll be out in full force at the big game at Norwayne. Saturday night, I'll be covering the Orville-Worcester game, and you can read about your favorite team and the game in Saturday's Daily Record Sports Extra and in our Sunday Daily Record. Until we meet again, thanks for watching. This has been the Daily Record's High School Football Insider.